You could call it a forgotten county. Tonight, we are talking about Allendale, South Carolina, as residents across the state prepare to go to the polls tomorrow for the first primary in the South. Many residents there are concerned their voices are not being heard and their votes are being taken for granted. By all appearances, it is a town that time forgot. Allendale, South Carolina. The population of the entire county numbers less than 9,000, a number that dwindles with each passing year. What is happening here that is causing people to leave?
What is happening, they don't have jobs here. Crime is high here, and a lot of people just don't feel protected. Nestled in the southwest corner of this deep red state is a very blue Allendale County, with a population that's 3/4 black. It's located 73 miles from Savannah, 90 miles from Charleston, and apparently a long, long way off the campaign trail. I was surprised to learn that 2008, John Edwards, when he was running for president, that was the last time that you had a visit from a presidential candidate until Pete Buttigieg and Tom Steyer.
That's exactly right.
Why is that?
I think things weren't quite the way they are now. We're in such a crisis.
Once a thriving manufacturing hub.
When I was small, there were plants that people could get jobs and stay home.
Now a graveyard of what once was. Can't help but notice, I mean, this was once a vital street here.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I don't know if there's actually an open store. It's just all boarded up storefronts.
Yes. They are.
City Councilwoman Lottie Lewis took us down what's left of a once vibrant street.
Then we had all the hotels, we had all the restaurants, the grocery store, we had everything here.
This is now the lone and only grocery store that remains. But the president has recently touted various successes for the black community.
African-American poverty rate has plummeted to the lowest level in the history of our country. These are good numbers. I don't know. I mean, I should be at 100%. I hate to tell you, right?
President Trump says that African-American unemployment is down, that African-American hourly wages are up. Is that true in Allendale?
There aren't any jobs in Allendale, you know, and, well, very few, let's just say that. It's nice to get on television and say, oh, the blacks have this and they have that, but you can look and see this is reality that we're standing in right now. This is reality.
Just take a look around. We kind of get lost. There's nothing here, you know, and nobody seemed to be interested in helping us.
Skeletal remains of 1950s-era motels greet those who enter, lining the highway that was once the main thoroughfare from New York to Miami, until Interstate 95 opened 2 counties over.
We were really the New York of all the other towns.
Is that right? Because people had to drive through here on their way north.
Yes.
Very few pass through here now, including the presidential candidates promising to bring struggling Americans out of poverty.
Say that if you work 40 hours a week, you should not be living in poverty.
It's about whether or not we can make a difference in people's lives.
And we can level the playing field.
While the 2020 contenders held more than 2,300 campaign events in Iowa, they've held less than 600 here in South Carolina. And residents in this small community say they're just not being heard.
Places like this and throughout the Low Country, they literally lose their voice.
Phyllis Smart runs a community center here in Allendale.
It's really about educating them more so than just feeding them. I would sit among them and talk with them about the candidates. What did they know? What they didn't know? And it began to open eyes for them. Back in December, Mayor Pete Buttigieg met with community leaders here.
We've reached a point where folks don't always hear from national Democratic candidates.
It just means a lot for a person that's running for president to come here.
Cory Booker and Tom Steyer soon followed. Allendale has consistently voted for a Democratic president since 1976. Hillary Clinton won 76% of the vote. President Obama, 80%.
Do you feel that the black vote is taken for granted by Democrats often?
Often, yes. Sometimes we have a voice, but it's not heard.
A sentiment echoed throughout the county.
Black voters need to be heard. They need to be recognized. They need to be respected.
Right now with this election, they should be out here drumming up every vote they can get, and they haven't done anything.
Well, taken for granted, you know, but we have a lot to offer. We have a lot to offer.
As the population of the country becomes more diverse, Republicans are increasing their outreach. Just this week, the Trump campaign announced it's planning to open 15 community centers in urban cities in critical battleground states next month, aimed at boosting African American support heading into the 2020 election.
Our president is quite a different kind of person.
Someone you would ever vote for?
No.
Okay.
I would never vote for him.
Is it unheard of in this county, do you think, for that people might vote for President Trump?
Oh, yeah, there are a lot of people that will vote for him.
Some residents warn there's a danger to feeling ignored.
Other people don't realize that our vote matter, and sometimes it resonates into some of the citizens. You know, they'll say, well, they don't listen to us, so why should I even vote? Because the things that we ask for never come our way. So eventually they just give up. Well, I live it personally. My sister says that she's not going to vote because she doesn't feel like it's going to impact anything.
One way or another?
One way or the other. I'm disappointed in them, because our history says that we're not people that give up. We fight for what we want.
And that's exactly what many here are doing now, fighting for their future.
This was a historical area here.
Lottie's trying to lead Allendale's revitalization with the slogan, Forward Allendale.
My parents loved this town, and they worked very hard here to make things better, so I feel like I need to do the same thing.
What would you say to presidential candidates, to politicians in general, to lure them, to attract them to come to Allendale?
I would say that they really need to come and see the grassroots of the people that literally make up America.
In this deep red state, this reliably blue county is waiting for an investment in its voters, an investment in this community.
I'm just glad that somebody cares about what we think. Thank you so much for coming to our little town.
And for more on this, let's bring in Democratic pollster Cornell Belcher. First of all, thank you so much, Cornell, for joining us. We really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
How significant is the black vote to the Democratic Party? And do you believe that, in general, black votes are often taken for granted?
I think they are very significant if Democrats or progressives are going to see a majority in this country. And I mean, if you look at Barack Obama in 2008, won 43% of the white vote. That was the exact same percentage of the white vote that John Kerry lost with, right? So expanding the electorate and changing the face of the electorate and making the electorate more diverse is the key to how Democrats win a majority. But the problem is you do see in a lot of our polling where you do have large swaths of the African-American community think that Democrats take them for granted and that their voices aren't being heard. You know, it was just last week I was doing focus groups with some younger African-American voters who voted for Barack Obama but either skipped 2016 or voted third party, and they are very frustrated still that they don't think their issues are being addressed, and they're not plugged into a lot of the back and forth political discussion that they're hearing going on in Washington or even in the Democratic primary debates.
And you heard in the story that we just did, black voters saying that they don't feel heard. 1 million less voters participated in the 2016 election than 2008. Why? And would that difference have gotten Hillary Clinton elected president?
Without question. I mean, even if you look at the African American voters and also a Latino vote, that minority vote that broke third party, they protested their vote because they didn't want to make the binary choice between the lesser of two evils in their eye. If you look at a state like Wisconsin, you look at a state like Pennsylvania and Michigan, Hillary Clinton is off of Barack Obama's winning margin by almost the exact percentage of those voters who broke third party. You know, the turnout being down alone, it was problematic. But even furthermore than that, I think to a certain extent Democrats have a structural problem. And this is what I mean by that. If you look at how Democrats spend their resources, typically in a campaign, they spend an awful lot of money chasing this mythical unicorn swing voter. And one of the beauties of the Obama campaign is we spent an awful lot of our money trying to bring more people into the process, communicating more with folks, touching voters more. And what I think you're seeing is a lot, especially millennials, they're not tuned into our traditional platforms for news, and they're not tuned into a lot of the sort of debate that's happening right now. Democrats have to spend more resources and think of different ways to reach these voters than what they're currently doing, because the way we're currently spending a lot of our resources trying to speak to voters, we are speaking to swing voters, but we're missing a lot of our base or our potential base.
There was a professor in South Carolina who said that black voters will either vote Democrat or not vote at all. Do you agree with that?
For the most part, yes. I mean, let's be clear about something. You know, in 2016, we had a lot of research that showed that African Americans voters thought that Donald Trump was a racist, and they still think he's a racist. But that doesn't mean they're going to turn out in strong numbers to vote for the Democrat. I think what scares me most about what I see happening in the Democratic circles right now is that they think Donald Trump is how they drive out turnout and is their ace in the hole here, when time and time again, we're gonna see 2016 again, where they get Donald Trump as a racist. They're not for Donald Trump, but they need something to vote for. And I think part of the beauty of Barack Obama, which may have spoiled a lot of voters, is they felt that they could vote for Barack Obama. They felt inspired. They felt this was someone they were voting for, as opposed to voting against someone. I think Democrats have to recapture that magic and give these voters something to vote for. Now, that said, really quickly, we should not ignore Trump's efforts at outreach. And one of the things I've seen in qualitative research picking up is if you test and you look at sort of the messaging that he's putting out there, there is a small percentage of the voters who are malleable to it, especially these low information voters who are not hearing from Democrats. If Trump gets there first, he has a chance of getting a couple percentage of them. And in most of these battleground states, if Trump raises his percentage of the black vote by 1, 2, 3%, he squeaks in again.
All right, and we're running out of time, but I really want to get this question into you, Cornell. So as the country's population becomes more black and brown, are we already starting to see a shift in the complexion in battleground states as it relates to blue and red?
We are. You see states like Georgia and North Carolina, but also Texas and even South Carolina becoming more competitive. But you also at the same time see Republican state legislative bodies in those states making it harder and harder to vote. So at the same time you see that electorate, that potential expanding, you also see efforts to stop and block the vote. So it's a battle.
Cornell Belcher for us, thank you so much for your insight.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.